Welcome to 13 minutes of gig news in 13 minutes or less. First thing, you guys, let's just get right into this. Colorado Senate Bill 23098, SB 23-098. If you guys want to Google it, Google it. You probably won't find much in the news about it at this point because this week it was supposed to get a full vote on the House floor here in Colorado. I've mentioned this on a couple other live streams and videos this week, but in case you've missed it, I'll just kind of, in a nutshell, summarize this: that it should have at least got to the floor because, like I've mentioned before, this isn't getting as much attention as Connecticut and some of the other bills, like Minnesota and North Carolina, trying to get money for their roads, like they get from the taxi and limousines. But that's getting roads repaired. Connecticut's going for money. Massachusetts going for uh, union models. Washington now has healthcare PRO Act, or AB5, and Prop 22 over there in California. All these are different ways of doing things, but they all have a price tag attached. So I'm not even putting out any judgment or casting any opinion on these today. What I am doing is talking about Colorado Senate Bill SB 23-098. It was introduced by somebody who was newly elected to the Colorado House, Stephanie Vigil. You can find Stephanie's information or interviews that I've done with Stephanie on this channel, as well as David and I did one on the Parrot channel as well. Stephanie wrote or co-authored the bill with another House member. They did get a senator to back it, which is what you need to do to get a vote on it. So, with all the pieces in place to at least see it get the vote. Now, in Colorado, we have a different way of appropriating our money than many states. Most states do have their own system of doing this. Ours happens to fall on, it's not bad, it's just strange. And I'm not going to spend part of this time today talking about that, but maybe on another time or something. If anybody ever wants to bring that up and ask me about it on Driver Nation or something, I'd be happy to talk about it real quick. But basically, the way we appropriate our money happens in a different way than a lot of states. So to get the appropriated money, you have to get the vote done on the House floor. That vote was supposed to happen. People kind of thought, you play out the players and your politicians in your state, and you try and figure out, okay, well, where's this guy going to sit? Can this guy come over if we help him with this project that he wants? Is it not bending his position too much to come over with us on this? And they're always looking for, it's not like weak links, but they're looking for who would be able to maybe back that bill without upsetting their constituents, which is a really sad thing. We talked about this a few times this week. I'm not a big believer. I'm all the way back to the days of big tobacco. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there was a whole 70s, 80s big tobacco funded like so much of political campaigns. It's crazy. And now it's other things, and it's big tech and things like this. So what ended up happening was, instead of it getting the vote, which at least, even if it didn't go this first round, would have at least had it be national news, which it was when it first was introduced, but then it went away again because there was no price tag. All these other states have, active hour minimums that they're going for, and dollar per miles on top of that. Connecticut being one of the most extreme we've even heard of. It's ridiculous. It's unfathomable. It's unworkable. And it'll be very interesting to see if they pass this, how the gig companies react. Because if there is a bill out there that would make the gig companies leave a state, it's the one Connecticut is trying to push right now. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, or if they make a deal. Who knows? But here in Colorado, there was no money attached to it. The bill SB 23-098 simply asked that all drivers on all gig apps have 100% complete transparency, which is what from day one I have been fighting for. And I've been doing this since 2015. And since day one, since actually, actually probably year 2 years in, when the other apps started coming around. But Uber and Lyft, when they were around first here in my market, it was just so good to pay. You really didn't care. And they were figuring out how they were even displaying it to you. And had to go through an old mapping system to get to actual receipts. But again, you didn't care. I was a bartender at the time too, and I was making as much doing rideshare as I was doing bartending, and I did very well as a bartender. So I was shocked that I could just go out and drive some hours. And this was almost like round the clock too. It didn't have to be 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. During bad bar hours and stuff. You could drive during the day and make the good money in the beginning. Um, but yeah, basically the bill wants complete transparency to the drivers. This is how much you're being paid. Let's use rideshare. Here's the pickup. Here's the drop off. Um, is it scheduled or is it right now? Basically, all the information you need to make a logical decision on whether or not this is a good gig for you, because to each their own. Your cost of your car, are you electric? Are you gas? Are you 35, 40 miles to the gallon? Are you 8 miles to the gallon? There's just too many, even market to market. There's 100 other factors that go into just your market. So, is it easy to say that? It's but bottom line is show all the transparency, make the acceptance rating not matter at all, because it shouldn't. Let's be honest. The best apps that I'm on don't even have acceptance. They don't show you that. It's more almost every app I know of has completion. So if like I'm going to use Curry, if I'm on Curry and I don't accept anything, my acceptance there is no acceptance rate. They don't care. But they'll keep sending me the orders. What they care about is when I take it, do I complete it? That's what really matters. So a completion rating is in there. Um, but complete transparency. Show me everything I'm doing, how much it pays, where it goes. Show me all the details I need to make the decision. No more of these different games that they play. Tip baiting, take it out, make it not work. No paywall behind a tip for DoorDash. And then, you know, the only other thing the bill was asked, and transparency to the customer too. Show them the bill for the food, the service fee, and then any other fees, and what the driver is paid out of that money. So that's another piece. And then it was the only other piece is wrongful deactivation, that you have the right to appeal it. I'm for all those things. My caveats to this were: are there pitfalls that would later lead to unions getting involved in this? Because that's always a big problem of mine. And I know a lot of you hear me say this about unions, but here's the thing, guys. Again, you can go back and check many, many times. Sometimes I'm just talking about a specific instance, so you might hear it the wrong way. I'm not against all the unions out there. I think that a lot of them don't belong where they are, but we don't need to get into all those. And I know that like fire, police, teachers union needs to be cleaned up, but it's needed. But here's the thing: the gig economy. When I'm talking about unions, and I don't like union involvement, I'm talking about the gig economy and traditional independent contractor work, which I've done long before the gig economy. And in that space, I don't believe unions. Not only do I not believe unions don't belong, but I believe you're talking about ending the American dream and making everybody on some level an employee and reliant on the system that they have decided to not need, because they have a way of earning in a free country that they came up with a great idea. Some of these are 4 generation companies. We often, when I say let's look at California, the thing is everybody says, no, Prop 22 is good. And I always say, I'm not talking about Prop 22. We've already talked about Prop 22 a couple times. Okay. But we're not talking about Prop 22. I'm talking about AB5. The reason that Prop 22 had to exist, that destroyed careers, not gig app jobs, and not for hire apps, but like careers. I mean, that's you guys have got a ton of pieces on it. If you need some guidance, please leave it in the comments. I'll reply with a great video. Leave what you're wondering about what, and I'll put a video in there I've done that will relate to your question, because I've done a lot with some amazing people. Um, So real quickly, Uber's so two Democrats took that bill down before it got the House floor vote. So, and I'm pointing this out because I this is where I want to tell you guys, please, I don't care what your party affiliation is. You shouldn't care what mine is. I'm open about it these days, but I don't get into the details with too many people because it's if you're one party or the other, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm an independent voter, not just contractor, but an independent voter, registered. And again, on Driver Nation, I'd be happy to and probably should. I can tell you guys what some of the downsides of being independent are in terms of like pre-ballots and things like that, and picking nominees, and you're left out of some stuff. However, the reason I'm independent is because I vote on both sides of the ticket. And why I want to point that out right now is because, look, most people in this country vote straight down the line on a ticket. They vote with the party. And I would question you guys, to those of you who have been voting for a while, or those of you who feel like taking a little more of a deep dive, not even a ton, but every candidate who runs has a website, or some a website or some form of internet presence. Go there and learn about them. Because if you see the big text behind them and they're a Democrat, is that doing you any good if you're a down the ticket Democrat voter? Because this was proof of something that everybody thought that we would see the Democrats push through super hard. Well, two of them jumped ship and said, "No, I work with DoorDash and these other companies that are screwing these people over that you want to help, so I can't get involved with that bill. And in fact, we're going to shoot it down." And that's what happened. So, that said, you guys, I had four other stories, but don't look like it's going to happen. Um, so this is the new day, Sunday. This is not the new time, though. However, I did not make the drop time, um, and I'm not sure that the drop time will be what I thought it was going to be. But I said 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Sundays, this would drop. It will drop at a time, unlike when it was on Saturday. But rolling into summer, I need Saturdays off. And I will pick a time that it will drop. I'm just not sure when on Sunday. But the earliest it will be is 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. It might be a little after. It will be decided by next week. Until then, that's 13 minutes of news in under 13 minutes. Have a great week, earn smart, and be safe out there, everybody. Peace.